It's 2022. Happy New Year. What to expect in the new year in the comic book community? What am I going to be doing? On this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey comic book community, this is Jim from Bronzeville Comics, and Happy New Year. The new year of 2022 has begun, and let's hope that it's a darn sight better than the last one. I think we all kind of set resolutions, and in comic book collecting, maybe we set some goals. Now, I'm doing something a little bit different here just because this is a little bit less of a video where I'm showing books, not showing a haul today or anything like that, so same kind of background, but it's a little less cluttered. And that's one of my goals, is to clean out my comic book collection. The number one goal really I have is to finish sorting my personal collection. I have, in the last 2.5 years, gone through my personal collection and sorted it alphabetically. I'm all the way up to the S's. S-O, I think Sovereign 7 is the next book I have to sort, and I have that hump of SUs to get over. But I'm a good portion of the way through the entire collection, but then I'm going to have to resort it as I bring in new books. And my original goal was to go through my collection, sort it, and then start to downsize. And I still want to do that, and I want to decide which books I want to keep. But in the meantime, last year I bought 13 collections, so I have a lot of sorting of those to do. So one of my goals is to sort my personal collection, and the other thing is to sort the collections that I got, which leads into the next goal, which is sell. I did a lot more buying than selling in 2021, and I kind of want to reverse that in 2022. Now, one of the issues has been that I've gotten this many books, 0 books, back from CGC. I think I have 121 books at CGC or out being pressed. Now, I anticipate in the next several months I'm going to start to get those books back. As CGC wait times have decreased, my order's been moving through the process. Some of my books have been pressed and are ready to be graded, so that's good news in that front. Additionally, I've been teaching myself to press, and today I filled an entire short box of books that I want to potentially clean press and get graded if I think the grade is going to be good enough to go through CGC. I have another short box that I already have set aside to be graded. So I have one press. One of my goals is to increase my work area, have a dedicated work area for comic books, and maybe have 2, hopefully 3 presses. I've been doing 1 book a day kind of religiously, but it's not a one-shot deal in pressing a lot of books. Sometimes they need a little bit of extra care and might need a second or third time through the press in order to maximize the potential grade. That being said, I want to sell. I was pretty aggressive in selling on eBay last spring and summer, but I ended up buying more books and kind of got overloaded with that, so I want to sell more. And one of the ways that I'm going to do that is March 19th, King Con 2. And we're looking forward to that show. When I was lucky enough to get a booth there, because every seller that sold in the fall show in September wanted to re-up, and many of them wanted more space. So it's a larger space. There are going to be more books there. And again, this is a show that's comic books. No toys, no pops, no cosplay, just comic books. And I have a ton of back issues. The big collection that I bought a few months ago, which is over 2,000 books from the Silver and Bronze Age, mostly Marvels, I'm halfway through sorting that. I finished the halfway mark today, and I hope to have that done in about 2 weeks. But I have other collections, and collections that I have to pull the big books out to get cleaned and pressed. But I do want to start selling. Once those CGC books come in, I can kind of start to separate the ones I want to keep, the ones I want to hold, and the ones I want to move. The next goal is personal collection goals. There's a Golden Age run that I want to finish. Leading Comics. The first 14 issues of Leading Comics by DC Comics starting in 1941 featured the Seven Soldiers of Victory. I have the first 13 issues. I need issue number 14, and I'm looking for the right book, right condition, right price. I haven't come across that yet. There was a Heritage auction from the Promise Collection, which was much too expensive. People were paying a premium for that pedigree. There's one on eBay, which the price doesn't really match what I want in terms of condition. I think it's the price is a little high for the condition the book is in. So I'm going to keep hunting, and hopefully by the end of the year, sometime in 2022, I want to finish that run. I did finish some runs in 2021. I want to continue to work on my Batman run. I was fortunate enough to get a collection that included Batman 150 through 500. Now, I already had solid issue 400 to present. So now I have issue 150 to present. The rest of volume 1, the New 52, and now the third volume, which is in the 1-teens. I want to start working back through the 140s into the 130s, and the big book to buy there is the first appearance of Betty Kane version of Batgirl. So that's going to be one of the ones that's on my radar. I do have a few other books, mostly DC keys that I'm looking for, that I would love to obtain in 2022. And when I do sell some other big books and have a little more cash to play with, I'm going to look more seriously into those. That's Hawkman number 4. I'd love a copy of that, the first appearance of Zatanna. Strange Adventures number 205, the first appearance of Deadman. Those are two big DC keys I want. And the other thing is another kind of, I can't really say a run, but a collection that I'm looking to complete are all the Marvel keys from 1972. And the only one I need is the most expensive one. That's Marvel Spotlight 5, the first appearance of Ghost Rider, and that has not gotten cheaper in the last week. So that's one that's on my radar. I would like to get a copy of that this year. That would be a nice add. The other thing is I've had this long-running project where I've been trying to buy every DC comic from 1972. I think about 70% complete in that quest. Hoping to add a little bit more and potentially finish that run this year. Some of the books are harder to get, some of the romance books in particular, because I'm definitely looking, as I am for the Batman books, at a minimum of fine. I do, for DC 1972, I have all the key issues, all the expensive books. So now it's just a lot of the filler issues. And as I said, the romance books are tough to find because they're not really highly collected. So it's just a matter of finding the right books. I see them at shows, I pick some stuff up if they look in the condition that I want. The same thing with that Batman collection. I've been looking for at least fine. We're talking about books now from, I think I'm into 1961. And there are books available, but right condition, right price. I'm looking to get the books that I want to be part of the PC. And this is a kind of a long range goal, and maybe, just maybe at some point work my way back into the double digits and single digits of Batman. That would be like kind of the ultimate collecting goal. It's just been such a great year in 2021, getting to know people in the community. And I think those are really my goals for 2022. I'm going to try to continue my Justice League run. I don't know if I want to finish, I'm looking to finish that right now, but continue to work on that. My Silver Age Aquaman run is getting closer to being complete. But I haven't got out of my way to find those books. And those are really the runs that I want to finish. I'm also working on my Adventure Comics run. That's a title that I'll never complete the run. But if I can get from 300 up, or maybe from 257 up, I'd be really happy. I'm right now in like the 370s, I think, up. So that's a collecting goal. What are your goals for 2022? What is the market going to bear? How are prices going to be impacted? I also want to continue this channel. I've been doing the weekly 1990s rundowns. I'm going to continue to do those. We're working on Marvel 1990s right now. Then probably do independence, and I'm going to choose another decade. I don't know if it'll be 70s, 80s, or the aughts, but another decade of DC, Marvel, and independent should take me through pretty much the end of 2022, and then I can always choose another decade for 2023. So I think those are my major goals. I'm not necessarily right now looking for big keys. Honestly, I don't really have any of the blue chip early Marvel keys. At some point, would I like to have them? Yes. But I'm more of a DC guy. I'd rather have a Brave and the Bold 28 and a Showcase 4. That's kind of my personal preference. And hopefully those books are still a little more affordable. Interestingly, they're older. So those are going to be books that eventually I'll be on the lookout for. And really, a lot of it depends on the hobby paying for itself. How many books I can sell, because I've bought a ton of books. I'm just looking at my coffee table right now. I started to organize it today. It's just filled with books. So I kind of want to downsize there and get something a little more streamlined. But then again, the collector in me, I'm always looking for collections, and it's hard to part with. On that note, books that I'm going to be bringing to KingCon. I was going through the Fantastic Four run, and I bought a collection that had Fantastic 44 through the early 200s. Almost every issue. Didn't have some of the issues later on, but it definitely had 44 well into the hundreds consecutive. Obviously, some of those books are very pricey. They're out at CGC. They're going to be going out to CGC. But I was going through the run filler, and the collector in me is like, man, I would just love to sit down and read these books. And that's another goal, is to read more books. I've read less books in the last 6 months than I did in the 6 months prior, because I've been spending so much time buying, organizing books that I've acquired. And that's going to be one of my ongoing video series. This is kind of sad, but I'm like 11 years behind in reading comic books. And every time I start a new month, I think I'm going to highlight those books, and we'll see what's there in terms of books that have peaked in value over the course of a little more than a decade. So that's going to be a little fun project that I'm going to do. I want to also talking to some other YouTube channels about doing some collaborative things. And so, guys, leave some thoughts in the comments. What are your goals for 2022? What do you think of my goals? What books are you on the lookout for? And we'll continue this conversation. We'll see what's going on. So, hope you have the best of New Year's. Hope that 2022 is a lot better than 2021. Really, I think our ultimate goal for almost everybody in the world is to get past this pandemic and get back to normal by the end of 2022. Well, we won't be there by the time I do my next video, but until then, enjoy your comics.